And welcome back. Nothing like a good Dr. Pepper. Ham and cheese sandwiches. So, some of these sessions might end up being shorter because I feel like I've been going so hard I've been burning out again. Probably evidenced by the fact I got really bored and just started looking through shit now that I'm not even going to be using yet because I haven't gotten that far. Like, some of that's not even stuff you normally obtain, Cheers Toolkit and everything, but we're still doing it by progression. Earlier I was almost disheartened because I was like, I'm gonna do Hakama's next I'm gonna do Hakama's next Abno fight. I fucking suck at Price of Silence. Oh. Hold on, actually. Yeah, I just had to grab some. So, yeah, I suck at Price of Silence, so, we're gonna do that later. So what I thought I would do is since I technically, and I will admit this, I didn't do these legit. When I was having just being kind of tired and bored and annoyed, I burned through the Cheers Toolkit. No, we're doing this legit. Now, I remember how I did the first one. I don't exactly remember how you do the second. I remember it being a slog. And that's part of why I don't like some of these later fixed fights, because they are puzzle fights and they're really cool, but they're meant to they're meant to be puzzle fights, but they're also kind of a slog. And I'm noticing that as I try to go through this legit more and more, you know, actually, like, even though I have access to all these books, I'm not actually using the pages from them until I beat the fights. You know, I'm playing fair. Even though the more I try to go through this legit, the more I'm realizing there is some fucked up in-game balance, like mid to in-game balance, that this mod creator has in mind. So this is Yarnon's fault. Now I believe that's Helena, the revolutionary in orange. Now, for this one, you're using Ujit Page 2. And Ujit Page 2 have access to special, enhanced versions of, the Ujit pages. At the end of the scene, recover half stagger resist taken during the scene, minimum of 1, does not activate while staggered. At the end of the scene, give 2 protection to allies suffered the most damage. Once per scene after suffering one side attack, gain 1 protection, stagger protection next scene. The Ujit. When using the Ujit, gain an additional effect. All their allies restore 1 light and draw 1 page. Hell yeah, brother. Keep it up. That guy's insane. He has made me believe I can do Lobotomy Corporation, because I can actually finish that game and beat it. I never got too far into it, but he made me believe. Fucker beat that shit in like 2 weeks. If even 2 weeks. I might be overshooting it. I might be overshooting how much time you spent on it. Okay, so Harp. At the start of next scene, draw all copies of Harp from the deck. Gain 1 protection next scene. Sand Split. Give 2 protection next scene to another ally with the lowest HP. Gain 1 protection next scene on Clash Win. On hit. So, Harp is for one-sided attacks. Sand Split, you want to win the Clash. Stand Strike. Give 2 Endurance next scene to another ally with the highest HP. So, give Protection ally with the lowest HP, Endurance to the ally with the highest HP. On Clash Win, gain 1 Endurance. Jamadar. If the rolled value of the defensive die is max, add a Pierce die 4 to 8 to the dice queue. Also, it's parry, which means if if it loses the clash, it turns into a block die instead, which is really good. If the rolled value of the defensive dice is max, give all other allies 1 endurance next scene. Reduce power target's current die by 1. On Clash Win, gain 2 endurance next scene. Reduce power target's current die by 1. Perusia. If the rolled value of the defensive dice is max... Oh, wait, I did. Never mind. The Ujit. Give 2 protection all allies next scene. And a new exclusive page just for Ujit page 2. Give all allies 1 conviction stagger protection next scene. Gain power equal to protection on self. On Clash Win, gain 4 conviction this scene. All dice gain plus X minimum value. 3 conviction is lost at the end of each scene. So you want to play Nebu first, and you want to play it on one of the highest speed dice. To give everybody conviction for that scene. Oh no, wait. Oh no, conviction's next scene. You want to play it first though. So whatever you followed up with, gains max dice value from conviction. So I said this earlier. I said this a while back. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna move the current recordings over, and we're just gonna I'm gonna record this until I get it right. Whenever I fuck up, I'll just scrap the recording. That way, I'm not wasting too much time of the viewer. Blah 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 blah. All right, let's get it. I forgot to look at their stuff. I'm sure it's fine. So, Jiren's office has burn infliction, has some burn stuff, but they have a very particular focus. And that is... Well, here's a good example. Oops, didn't mean that. Here's a great example. Start a clash, destroy the first die on the opponent's page. On clash, lose, destroy the last die on this page. On hit, draw 1 page. One side, inflict 2 fragile next scene. So that's meant to do that. That's meant to be like, no, go all in. Hit with everything. Offensive dice gain +1 power at emotional level 3 or above. At the start of the scene, restore 1 life if current life is 0. At emotional level 2 or above, each scene the cost of a random combat page name is cost is 1 or higher is reduced by 1 for the scene. Yeah. Now, let's see. Speed 3, Inner Fire. At emotional 4 above, draw an additional page and restore 1 more light each scene. Easygoing Griever, Respiration, and Fervor. Okay, so she doesn't have her weird protection passive. If this page deals at least 8 damage, restore 3 light and draw 1 page. Now, Gianna himself has keep moving forward. At the end of the scene, if this character has dealt at least 50 damage, fully restore all light and draw 3 pages. Literally, just go all in is Santiago's method. And you probably can't, and even with you using this page, you probably can't do that right away. But last long enough into a fight, and yeah, you should be able to. Now, I forget what the win condition for this is, but I think it's, beating Santiago. Alright. We can. Alright. What is hitting who and how much? Alright. 2 attacks are hitting you. 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 So it's spread pretty even. Destroy the first die on the opponent's page. On Clash Lose, destroy the last die on this page. There's no fucking way I'm winning that. Again, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to, like... I think I'm supposed to beat Santiago. The Ujit. Hilted Nail, that's not too bad. Also, they endure blunts, that's good. She's doing Tenacious Blades. 5, 9, 4, 7. Yamada. Yeah, I'll let that one go through. It's not a big deal. What was their thing again? It was, yeah, the Ujit. You're getting hit by those two. Oh, you're getting by 3 attacks. That's kind of fucked. Unceasing Strike. Yeah, we'll go with that. And throw a harp into here. The idea, if I remember right, is you're supposed to stack a fuck ton of protection. And you're supposed to abuse the Ujit whenever possible. What does this do again? 1 conviction, stagger protection next scene. Gain power equal to protection on self. Gain 4 conviction this scene. If this page deals at least 30 damage, lower its cost by 1 and recover 30 stagger resist. Inflict 3 fragile damage on Clash Run. Inflict 3 fragile damage on Clash Run. Inflict 1 fragile to all enemies next scene. Recover HP and gain protection this scene equal to target's fragile. Tenacious Blades, Tenacious Blades. Causality inversion. Causality inversion. Son of a bitch. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Okay. Draw a page. On Clash, lose destroy the last die on this page. So I have to win that one. I'm getting some really unlucky rolls here. Never mind, that was a really lucky roll. Holy shit. It's either you're supposed to kill Helena, or you're supposed to either beat Helena or Santiago. I forget which. Either way, I'm going all in. It's fine. I got protection. Holy shit, I'm kind of fucked. Okay, so it looks like Helena fucked off. So yeah, you have a good chance of winning. Yeah, I have a good chance of winning now. 1 conviction, 3 protection. Use Nebu. Then use Heart. Yeah, use Nebu. And then use Jamadar. Use the Ujit. Use the Ujit. And there you go. Giant's Fall 1 is officially been beaten legit. The legit way. It's honestly a really fun fight. Now, this means that I get, those were the books of Gianranzos and Santiago. Okay. Yeah, take you off. You don't need to be there. Now. This gives us Santiago. And yes, we're finally getting rid of the melters. For now. Now they have some exclusive pages. And what were the Gianran office fixers? I want to compare that to roughly around the same stats as Lowell. A little bit better. Yeah, roughly around the same stats as Lowell. A little bit better than a normal Liu fixer. So. And we'll have Forming Storm. I will admit, one thing I'm happy about with the whole Cheater's Toolkit thing is the fact I'm just not gonna have to worry about grinding for pages anymore. Okay, yeah. Generan's Office gives Hilted Nail, Tenacious Blades, Causality Inversion, and Unceasing Strikes. Santiago's gives all of that, plus Unstoppable March. Now, ideally, I would use Genre Fixers along with Santiago, but I kind of want to mix Leo in. At the very least, we're going to be using Santiago. Oh, don't worry about that. Wait. Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I think I know what that's from. I fucked around a bit. Let's see. Yeah, I might try that. Oh, shit. Now, I remember... single point stab being, like, the thing to use in vanilla. At around this point of Star City, because, it itself is not... It's kind of page draw, kind of not. I mean, technically it's page draw. But it's not just page draw, it's literally, like, deck control. Draw all, you draw all copies of it into your hand, you're guaranteeing you're going to get a different page at the start of the turn. And where did your exclusive page go? Oh. Duh. This should be decent. In fact, I'm wondering if a Gianron office setup would be good for price silence on Hakma. The idea is it's an engine that once you get it going, it doesn't stop. Alright, then you have Gianron's Fall 2. And that just gives you more Book of Gianron's Office. You have to fight this fucker. Unaffected by Fragile, Fragile is preserved between scenes. Pretty sure there's a reason for that. Pretty much immune to stagger, endures pierce. Yeah. So the idea here is that you're backed up by 4 of these dudes, or whatever. Wait, is it? It doesn't... You're backed up by like 4 or so of these dudes, and you gotta kill Corazon de Dragon. I was kind of disappointed because I was like, oh man, am I gonna get Corazon de Dragon's key page? No, you don't. You fucking don't. You're never getting that. Okay, I guess I want to try to do that legit. I don't even... I guess. Alright. Restore 9 light at the start of each scene. At the start of each scene, gain 9 stagger protection. At the start of each scene, gain 9 protection. At the start of each scene, all allies recover 2 to 5 HP and stagger resist. No ally redirects an attack that was initially targeting this character. The ally gains 1 protection this scene and next scene, and restores 1 life. Yeah, Soul is kind of crazy. And then Akash. All dice gain +1 power for each page in hand. Upon losing a clash, discard a random page from hand. Draw 9 pages at the start of each scene. When a dice this character plays rolls the minimum value, re-roll it. Activates once per die. If this character is not staggered, respond to one-sided attacks with the combat page Akashic Records up to 3 times per scene. If there are 6 more combat pages in hand, all dice in this page gain +2 power. Add a copy of target's current page to hand. Single use, add Ein to hand. Gain 1 strength this scene. Restore 6 light on hit. Unity. Combat Star. All other allies using a Unity page this scene restore 2 light. Can't stack. What's a Unity page on that? Yeah, that one is. Heavy reading. If there are 6 more pages in hand, all dice in this page gain +2 power. Add a copy of the target's current page to hand. And then Cosmic Crush. Mass Summation. Lower this page's cost by 1. Gain +4 power for each page in hand. Droplet of Light. Reduce the cost of a random page in hand by 1. On Clash Draw 1 page. Get protection, stagger protection, and conviction to all allies this scene. Recover 12 HP of all allies. Overflow. Recover 5 HP and stagger resist. Restore 1 light and draw 1 page. Gain +3 power and a positive emotion point. Give all allies +1 max light capacity. Soothing Light. Overflow. Wait. No, those are different ones, yeah. Gain +3 power and a positive emotion point. Recover 5 HP and stagger resist. Restore 1 light and draw a page. All allies recover HP and stagger resist equal to twice their remaining light. Draw a page for each living ally. Does that count the Jianren, guys? Inflict 1 feeble, disarm, bind fragile, and paralysis this scene, next scene, and the scene after. This page is replayed on a random enemy for every remaining point of light. Oh boy. So yeah, they're all gonna be attacking the dragon. Wait, I think I remember this one being a problem. Inflict 2 fragile self next scene, inflict 3 bleed to target next scene, and deal 5 stagger damage. Now, if I remember correctly, there's a reason he retains his fragile, even though fragile won't do anything now. There's a reason for that. What was it? I don't know. I could have sworn it's like there was a bonus benefit to you, Yeah, it's 8 to 20 versus 12 to 20. I might be able to work it out. Oh, that guy's kind of fucked. Ah, we're doing decent. One guy took a moderate amount of damage. Oh god. He's about to use mass attack. 10 protection, 2 feeble.
was weird.
Oh, come on. Yeah, no idea what just happened there. With him replaying that. Now we're genuinely kind of in the shit. Oh, Soul is almost dead, which is not good for me. Conversely, he's almost staggered, so... Man, you were just not in a good spot, Art. If he uses Take Flight again before I either kill him or stagger him, I'm kind of fucked. Oh, there go my chances of winning. Yeah, if only more of the deflections had happened before, so I could get him to stagger. You fucking piece of shit. Oh, yay, look at that. I hate this. So close to winning. And he's taking flight. Yep. This is a bust. I just took the video. I spent like 42 minutes on that shit. It is like 3 a.m. This shit is why I will gladly, if I feel annoyed enough, just use the fucking Cheater's Toolkit to immediately bypass the fixed fights. Because you can be on those for a good bit and fucking lose. And just end up losing it. It can get soul crushing. I guess I'm just gonna leave that one in. I might leave that in. I'll make another attempt at it another time. These sessions are gonna get shorter probably, and they're gonna be sparse a lot more apart, rather than what it was for like the first about 15 or so, where I was doing it for hours a day, every day. I've been kind of fucking off doing other stuff, and so I don't get burned out too much, but I might leave that in as a great example of like what a colossal fuck up a colossal fuck up that can happen, and just not really colossal fuck up, just losing a war of attrition that you spent almost an hour on, and it all just goes to shit. And the annoying part is, it's not even like, oh, it isn't even just, oh, there's certain books locked behind these that you can't get otherwise. It's literally that it blocks progression. These fixed fights have to be beaten. Like, I used the Cheers tool. I ended up using the Cheers toolkit mostly just because I was like falling asleep and barely able to function, and really annoyed. The other night, just to burn through those two fights. You have to, like, for example, you have to beat those to do Ujit 2. I don't know if you need to beat Ujit 2 to do whatever in Imperius Subtatus, but you need to beat them to do Ujit 2, and there's 4 different key pages locked behind, that you get from that, along with a bunch of combat menus. It's fucking crazy. I'll probably attempt again. We'll see. I'm calling it.